Blessings. I'm in a room. Today I wanted to talk about some ways that the Most High, this is to build women's confidence. I couldn't really get this out on Mother's Day um, due to having other things going on. But I want it to be clear that the Most High made the woman out of the rib. You know, when Adam, he looked at Adam and said, "You need a friend," and so he made it out of Eve out of his ribs. I think he used 2 ribs. I don't know the exact. Let me not say stuff, but again, I don't have my Bible. I'm still looking for the right one. So, Adam is of course the authority over her now, since they eaten from the Garden of Eden. And when you're reading the Bible, you're looking at what would make Eve eat from the garden. And her man wasn't there with her. I'm not saying that women can't think and do things on their own, but it's a telltale thing that you can't you have to add balance with your life. You can't spend so much time with the Most High that you have neglected your wife, and understanding of when she's to herself and alone apart from you, that you have to really give her a plan on how to carry herself, because she's a representation of you. So your plan of how you see things, how you view things, to be done behind closed doors before you get to people or out in public. What are you wanting her to say and be? And I'm not saying like, oh, she's the puppet. No, there's certain things that we need to agree on when we're in public, of what we're saying and what we're not saying, not at that moment. So that's just something that to know that the woman is a gift to the man, because a lot of people try to dumb down being a woman. And a woman, I was out there, as I was looking at the bus stop, I was waiting at the bus stop, and I'm looking and I'm seeing like mostly men, predominantly black men, just as homeless as can be. They, you know what I mean? They're just looking down and out, and they're needy. They're needy. So I mean, my true thing is men do need women. Without that, they cannot produce children. And so we don't want to dumb down the need for a woman in our lives. Now, people do dumb down the fact that they don't need men. Now, a woman can get away in society without having a man. The men, they're needing, and we got trials out here. So the men are definitely having their needs on things and desires that they are wanting. So when I'm saying this, is I'm saying that a woman can better off without a man than a man can do without a woman. So she is the gift. The Bible says that a man who finds a woman's find a good thing. You find a good thing. So when you're looking for your wife, you want to find something that's good, that's going to add to you. Remember that's a representation of you. If you out here talking about your woman in the streets, she's for the streets, then that's a representation of you. So you want to make sure that you're picking a wife that you sustain, that she is your rib. She's your rib. So don't say all sisters is like this and like that. A man who says that has heart issues. They have heart issues, whether it's with their mother or other relationships that they had with women, and you need to be delivered. You can't be a righteous man talking about black women this and black women that. I can't be a righteous woman talking about black men this and black men that. There's certain things that we can say that we don't like, because I do both. There's things I don't like about sisters, and that I'll put out there that kind of help can hold us back. You know, the way that they think, of thinking some of them, you know, they're just as beautiful as they come, and then they still just have this low self-esteem when it comes to the man. And that's where I'm not with that. So I'm just saying, I'm just telling you what the Bible's telling me, that a man who find a wife find a good thing. We are the good thing. So God is not, you know, when people go to Proverbs or talking about the woman that she devours the man and wipes her mouth, you know, he's talking about those kind of women. If you're dealing with those women that have been hurt, because this is why they're doing that. They've been hurt. They've been lied to. They've been abused by men. You know, they're not understanding that that's a spiritual thing, that they attract those things because they're not into the will of the Lord. They're not, you have to get delivered from these things. If you've been abused, you got to get delivered from these things. That way, you know how to get a good man. You're not tearing them down. You know what I mean? So you have to get those things together with the Most High, and He can only do it. He can only do it for you if you're willing to take the case. So when you're sitting here and you see me just as average, you know, right now I ain't taking, you know, I'm not my. when you're just being laid back, you know what I mean? You're not dolled up. You know, you're looking at me and you see a man having a conversation with me, and you're wondering, you know, I look better than her, and you know, I get that. I mean, I'm just telling you what I get. Some women, they have a better shape and whatever, and you know, some people feel that they can have what's yours, but you know, in this I test because I'm saying, hey, it ain't hurting if he wants to be with her, then he wants to be with her. Then that's not my man, because God is never giving me someone that could be taken away. That's not your man. And that's where we ain't fighting. We ain't fighting in the streets over some Joe Blow that we just met. You know what I mean? If he's my man, she can't take him away. If that's gonna be my husband, he can't take him away. And so that's where I'm trying to get people to let the drama go, you know, when it comes to these kind of things, that you're being at peace with yourself, knowing that, hey, I wasn't the better chosen one. You know, maybe the Most High sees something different, and sometimes they get it wrong. They pick the other woman, and then now they want to come rolling back to say, I should have just, nah, you can't, bro. You can't. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know how others may feel. Maybe some people, they may have it to say, hey, but you know, when the opportunity arises to you to be in that woman, and then there's the disrespect of someone coming in, that's on that kind of thing. I'm just saying, you know, but I'm just trying to really get people to understand, you know, certain things in life about a woman, because people keep trying to beat the woman down, especially the black woman. And you know, it was once said by I remember being in the church years ago, and this one man, he was telling me, you know, he was always different from all the other church members, and even as a young child, I could see it. But he himself has said that Jesus was a black man. You know, he was one of the ones like, okay, sit down. You know what I mean? But you know, I can remember him, that certain things that he would say is definitely of biblical, because he was of difference. And I, even as a young child, I heard him, and I'm saying, you know, understanding that, you know, I felt like he was right, you know, but I could see the other people weren't with that. They weren't with that, because that's not the kind of church that you could say those kind of things. But he was preaching the truth. He was preaching the truth. I mean, now I can see it, but I felt that then, that there were some discrepancies with that man, that member of that church member, and he was saying that the black woman is the backbone of the earth. He was saying these kind of things, and they looked at him like, oh God, you know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know. I don't mix religion with things, and I'm not saying this is so. I'm just saying that these are things that I've seen in church as a child, that people are saying things. But he got that part right. I ain't talking about the backbone on the earth, but I'm talking about that's how he was saying something about that's how he felt with the black woman, because he was with a black woman. So they had kids and everything. So, but I just that stands out, that person, and it's a lot of my old church members that I remember. But I remember hearing that from him. And he definitely was a man married to a black woman and had kids. So, I mean, not that that matters, but some people say, okay, how could they say that? But you're married to this other type of woman. Well, God is not a racist man. We're living in the times that God more cares about long as that person is saved. They saved and you're good, because whoever you're choosing is who you're choosing. They're not into other things in the Most High, that they're into righteousness. They're willing to learn about our God, the Most High. And that's what brings that woman in, or that man in. If you're dating, interracial dating, God's not saying you can't, but there was something that he said in Numbers, I believe it's Numbers 34, I can't remember my scriptures, but it's just saying that the inheritance, that was back in, he was talking about the inheritance of it, that he was suggesting not to. This was back before Jesus and everything. So, I can't preach about it because I don't have my scriptures here before me. So, but I'm just trying to enlighten people about the woman, not just black woman, but particularly I do, because, we've been beat down a lot, especially with my circumstances, situations. I've been, looked at as, just because I was in a hood, that the stereotype that we don't know anything, that in that particular area, it's different because, me and my ex-husband, we always lived in suburban areas. And I felt that I wanted to be in the hood because I felt of enlightening and things, and that I'm never afraid, you know what I mean? And so when I moved there, like I said, it's just about that people look at you as, why? A real person who knows about politics and rules and laws is not living in the hood, but that's a stereotype. That's a stereotype. So, like I said, I didn't always share it with my neighbors. I always kept to myself. So that's just something that I was saying, that you never know who's in the hood. And they didn't know who I was either, And that's what made the trouble. But you had no idea that I was a prayer warrior. I go. So that's just something that I do. It's something that came about. I wasn't always like this. I pretty much did what everybody else. I try to do everything else, but something else. And people would tell me that you stand out. You stand out. I don't know what it is about you. But when you get into the power of the Most High, you understand He's with you, He'll never leave you. He'll never forsake you. And, to a man, that beauty is a different thing. When I worked with predominantly all men, when I done that, just because I done welding and the places I would go, my friends would be saying, you could work here. They ain't tell me that they ain't never had a woman. And I'm like, why would I work here? So it was like, it's not something I was going for. It's just, they never told me. They say, yeah, we just, we didn't want to intimidate you. So, so the places that I went, yeah, you got to kind of show yourself approved. And sometimes some of them will try to put the work on you. And you say, huh? You know what I mean? So a lot of it is just being confident in yourself. The way that men see women and how women see women. Women see women sexy. That's how they think most men are, that they think about sex all day long, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and some of them probably do, but I'm just saying that that's easy, what I'm saying, you're dressing, you're going to the gym and you're wearing like this ensemble, you know what I mean? And I'm saying in my mind, I'm not judging, but I'm just saying we're in a world full of people where we don't know who's a predator or not. And so you know, I don't want to turn people on. You know what I mean? But hey, some things, you know, I dress regular, and you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying, that you know, women like, okay, she's sexy, he's gonna want her, and then men say, okay, that's obvious, cause she's sexy and everybody's gonna want her, I don't want her. Some men are like that. You know, I'd rather have someone that's laid back, you know what I mean? Cause she's gonna cost me. That's how that man's seeing her. I'm gonna have to spend some money on her. And so if the man ain't got it, he's not checking for her, or he's trying to build something where he doesn't have to spend as much. And so I'm just trying to tell you, you know, how, cause you know, I get hate, and I just build with people. I don't look to see if I can get with them or anything. Even if I'm single, I just have conversations and understand people, and it's never in the sense of I'm trying to get up with you. And some of them think, hey, because you talk to me, you trying to get up with me, right? And I'm saying, no. No, bro, you know, but you know, it's all good. I always try to tell them what it is, and that's just it. You know what I mean? I make sure you understand. We just have conversations now. So when we do that, that's how the women see. They think men see us like this, and some of them do. I'm gonna tell you, it's very small. Dude, if you're looking for a man to take you seriously, when you dressing all like that, you know what I mean? But when the man, they say, okay, look at, you know, they're, I can't believe I'm saying this, you know, it's more like, okay, you know, curves, and, you know, she's not even trying. You know, it's the mystery behind it. Like, you know, she's wearing just a regular shirt, and she's not even trying to be sexy. That's appealing to a lot of men. You know, you've already showed them everything you got. You know what I'm saying? So there's no, you know. So, I mean, some men like the mystery of it. You know, I wonder what that look like. You know, you don't want to just give everything all away. You know, I'm just saying, but you don't have to dress regular. You know, but I'm just saying, you know, use wisdom when you're doing it. If you're trying to find someone or date someone, you want to use wisdom with it. You know, you don't want to just come out there in full lingerie. And I try not to, you know, I'm not making fun of people, but I just be saying, you know, especially when I go working out, like, Lord, you know what I mean? You know, but in that woman's mind, she's probably not even thinking about the man. She's saying, I had a goal to set. I'm trying to get into this. And she just feels really good about it. And I know how it feels, because I've done that myself. But, you know, I ain't going it. I ain't going out there like that, girl. No. So to each his own. But, you know, I'm just saying, the one, that's how people look at it. The one, she's sexy. Oh, he's gonna be after her. And you're saying, okay. But so, you know, and that's when some of them get mad. Like, you know, that's when they want to cut and make fun of you. Like, hold on. Now, ain't nobody told you to come out your underwear and we trying to work out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have to tell them. You know what I mean? So that's just something I was just saying and sharing, that the way that men see things and the way women see things. And when you're trying to find someone that you want to be with and care about and love, he's not wanting everybody to see everything, okay? Let me say that again. He's not wanting, no matter how tough and good he with, he's not wanting everybody to see everything. Now, if he's okay with it, then, you know, that may be how he feel about you. You know what I mean? Somewhat, some men say, hey, you know, babe, do whatever you want to do. But, you know, I just said caution, you know. If he's okay with you dressing like that, I don't know. But most men who are candid and care and they're wanting their woman to be with them, they're not needing all that. And, you know, some of us, like I said, you know, we just have our shapes, and we can only, a moo or something. I don't know what else we can do to cover ourselves, but we got what we got. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And that's just something I want women to love themselves more. I know we have to deal with the hair, because I'm going to do a thing about the hair. Right now I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing next, years, I could speak a little bit about it for myself. When I was younger, my mom we never had relaxers. Never had relaxers. I remember when I was in, just because Michael Jackson had one, I wanted a curl. Everybody else had a curl. My mom had a curl, my dad had a curl. And I'm like, why can't I have a curl? And the girls, me and my sisters, were not allowed to have any processes in our hair. And I'm like, oh my God. Because when you start taking up classes and swimming, you know what I mean? And you got all this hair, and you're saying, you know what I mean? There's no way you can get around getting it. You still gonna get it wet. And so, so you know what I mean? You come in, you all sicky straight, you looking great, and then at the end of the day, you looking like Ludacris. And you saying, you know what I mean? So I was like, I need, this ain't working for me, because I was a tomboy. I need a perm. I don't keep, That's where I started learning how to really do my hair, because, I want the silky straight. And so that's when I started saying, you know what? I started failing, because they like, how can you fail gym? It was the hair. It was because it was too much to press out. You don't want it to fall out. And, they was making fun of me, like, oh my God. And so I wasn't really confident already in my hair looking like, you know what I mean? But could I do it now? Yeah, I could do it. I understand the whole thing of it all. I'm wearing an afro or whatnot, but when you're a teenager and you trying to be, hey, silky straight. And then, by 7th period, you like, what has happened? You know what I mean? So, that's where I started doing that. Like, ask my dad, can I get a perm? When can I get a perm? You know what I mean? And he's like, I don't know anything about that. And my dad used to have a Jerry curl, so I'm like, I don't want that now. But, that's just some things that women don't understand about their hair. They just appreciate it, in a natural sense. I've always done it. I just was so tired of it. So that's where I was wanting the process, because I had like almost three gym. Well, I had 2 gym classes in one semester, and that's why I said, somebody gotta give me a perm. Somebody give me a perm. And so that's just how some women are feeling, because men want to know why y'all want to do all this to your hair. And so that's where it starts. Once you get the perm, for me, once you get the perm, then you start dyeing it. Then you start putting weave in it, braids in it, whatever. And we had good braided hair when I was growing up. I've always had long, not real long, but good length hair. And so it just was a matter of, I'm tired. Whatever works. A hairdresser will tell you, whatever your lifestyle is, that's what you should be doing to your hair. You know what I mean? So that's where I would do that, and then I just started getting relaxers, just wear my regular hair. I really wasn't, quote unquote, a big fan of weave. But sometimes when I was younger, like, hey, I remember I always wanted my hair. So, it's an experimental thing. But that doesn't mean that I don't love myself and I don't love my hair, okay? In women's eyes, it's more of, it's more of, this is a style. So if I put blonde hair in my hair, doesn't mean I want to be part of the Illuminati or I'm trying to be white. It's just saying that this is goes with, it's supposed to go with, it's supposed to go with your complexion, but I know people do other stuff. But it's just saying it's a style. I'm just rocking it, and that's it. But the way men see it, they say, oh, here you go. You trying to be white? I might as well get a white girl. That's how some men think. But, you know, to each his own. That's where I kind of added that to there because it's just so many discrepancies, especially when it comes to black men and black women about our hair. And the Bible says that our hair is our glory. So, you know what I mean? So, you know, however you do it, I don't judge no sister. Shoot, I used to wear lace fronts because I was excited. Like, oh, you know, I could actually not mess up my own hair. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes when you're putting too much heat on it, you know, you can create heat damage. So that's why women do say, hey, let me take a break. If I just got to throw on a wig real quick, you know, I'm going to be in the sun. Oh, these are reasons why women do. Or they could be dealing with cancer. You know, some women, it take a lot of time to just say, this is where I'm going to be. They don't want to be bald. If they don't want to be bald, they don't want to be bald. They don't need everybody in their business. They don't want to talk about why am I like this. You know, that especially women who have long hair. And then now I have to tell people this is what I'm going through. And, you know, it's just a simple fix of trying to just go about my way. So I say, try not to be too judgmental when you see me here. Now, I know on my live, I was talking about lace fronts. And I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm the type that ain't willing to do all that. You know, the tinting and the dyeing and I'll be doing a lot. So, but I'm just saying that it was just a joke because usually, you know, with my targeting, they're on me. You know what I mean? Here they are. And I said, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? Ain't really too many men around here. And, you know, oh, it's Mother's Day. You know what I mean? So that's where I was going with that. So, no, I'm not knocking anyone who needs to wear a wig or extensions in their hair. You know, that's neither here nor there to me. I know that's a part of our culture. So, but, you know, the thing is, you don't want to be attached to anything. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes it's good to just wear your real hair. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the attachment is there. Some women, when they get that good wig in there, they act a whole total person. Like, okay. You know what I mean? You got to be careful and pray over your wigs and your hair. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of times it'd be better to wash them out before you put them in, if you can. And so I'm just trying to, you know, add balance to this substance of what I'm speaking about, of a woman, that we need to be appreciated, that we are the gift to man. It says it in the Bible. He that finds a good woman find a good thing. And so make sure you do that, bruh, sis. All right, blessings.